Luka Dončić once dropped 73 points on the Atlanta Hawks. Let me say that again because it's unreal. 73 points. That's not just a career high. That's the fourth highest scoring performance in NBA history, and he did it while making it look effortless, putting him right up with Kobe's 81-point game. But here's what's going to blow your mind. That wasn't even the most traumatic thing Luka has done to a fan base this season. This is a 26-year-old kid from Slovenia who has systematically destroyed the hopes and dreams of more NBA fan bases than any player in recent memory. We're talking about buzzer beaters that ended seasons, step-back threes that broke spirits, and playoff performances that left entire cities questioning their life choices. But the most insane part, he's just entering his prime now. And the trail of broken hearts he's left behind reads like a who's who of NBA franchises that thought they had a chance. Today, I'm going to walk you through every single fan base that Luka Dončić has traumatized. And trust me, if your team isn't on this list yet, just wait, because Luka is just getting started. Look, I've been covering the NBA for years, and I've seen players dominate before. But what Luka Dončić does to opposing fan bases isn't just domination, it's psychological warfare. This isn't about putting up good numbers or having a few good games. This is about a player who has the supernatural ability to crush souls at the exact moment when hope is at its highest. He's like a basketball Grim Reaper, showing up at the worst possible time to deliver the most devastating blow imaginable. And the crazy part? He does it with this smirk on his face, like he knows exactly what he's doing to these fans. Like he feeds off their despair and uses it to fuel his next impossible shot. From his rookie season to right now, Luka has been on a mission to traumatize every fan base in the league. Some teams have gotten it worse than others, but nobody, and I mean nobody, has been safe from the Luka experience. So buckle up, because we're about to take a tour through the graveyard of broken dreams that Luka Dončić has created. The LA Clippers, the ultimate victims. The LA Clippers. Because if there's one fan base that Luka Dončić has absolutely terrorized, it's Clippers fans. This isn't just about one series or one moment. This is about years of systematic torture that has left Clippers fans with PTSD every time they see Luka's face. It started in the 2020 bubble. First round of the playoffs, Mavericks versus Clippers. On paper, this shouldn't have been close. The Clippers had Kawhi Leonard, Paul George, and one of the deepest rosters in the league. The Mavericks had Luka and a bunch of role players, but Luka didn't care about the paper. In Game 4, with the series tied 2-2, he dropped 43 points, 17 rebounds, and 13 assists. But it wasn't just the numbers, it was how he did it. The step-back three over Paul George with 10 seconds left to tie the game, the way he stared down the Clippers bench after every big shot, the casual 30-foot bombs that he was launching like they were layups. But the real trauma came in Game 6. Luka was playing on a sprained ankle that should have sidelined him for weeks. He could barely walk during warm-ups. And then he went out and dropped 38 points and 9 assists to force a Game 7. The Clippers won that series, but the damage was done. Luka had shown them that their championship window could be closed by a 21-year-old kid who was playing hurt. But it didn't stop there. Every time these teams have played since then, Luka has found new ways to torture Clippers fans. The 51-point game in 2022, where he hit 9 threes and made it look easy. The triple-double performances where he's laughing and joking with teammates while destroying their defense. And here's the most traumatic part for Clippers fans. They know it's only going to get worse. Luka is 26 years old and already doing this to them. What's he going to be like when he's actually in his prime? The Phoenix Suns? The never-ending humiliation? But if you want to talk about pure humiliation, let's talk about what Luka did to the Phoenix Suns. This was supposed to be the Suns' year. 2022, they had the best record in the league, Chris Paul was still elite, Devin Booker was in his prime, and they had just made the finals the year before. Then they ran into Luka in the second round of the playoffs, and what happened next was one of the most brutal beatdowns in playoff history. Game 7, Phoenix, winner take all. The Suns had home court advantage, they had experience, they had everything going for them, and Luka just broke them. 35 points, 10 rebounds, 4 assists, and he made it look effortless. But it wasn't just the numbers, it was the way he did it. The step-back threes in Chris Paul's face, the casual drives to the basket where he was scoring over multiple defenders. But the most traumatic moment came in the fourth quarter. Suns down by 20, their season slipping away, and Luka hits this ridiculous step-back three from 30 feet out. And then he just stares at the crowd, shrugs his shoulders, and jogs back down the court like he just made a routine free throw. That shrug broke the entire city of Phoenix. It was like Luka was saying, "This is easy for me. Your best effort isn't even worth my full attention." The Suns never recovered from that series. Chris Paul's championship window closed. The team chemistry fell apart, and Suns fans were left wondering how their 64-win team got embarrassed by a 23-year-old who made it look like a scrimmage. The Utah Jazz, the step-back specialists. Now let's talk about the Utah Jazz, because Luka has found some truly creative ways to traumatize this fan base. The Jazz thought they had figured out how to defend Luka. They had Rudy Gobert protecting the rim. They had perimeter defenders who could stay in front of him. They had a system that should have worked. But Luka doesn't care about your system. He's going to find a way to break it, and he's going to make it look easy while he does it. The signature moment came in 2021. Jazz are up by 2 with 10 seconds left. They've got Luka locked up. The game is basically over. And then Luka does what Luka does. He creates space out of nowhere and hits a step-back 3 from 28 feet to win the game. But it wasn't just that he made the shot. It was the degree of difficulty. It was the way he created separation from a defender who was draped all over him. It was the casual celebration afterward, like he knew it was going in before he even shot it. Jazz fans had seen their team blow leads before, but this was different. This was a player who was so confident in his ability that he was taking impossible shots in impossible situations and making them look routine. And then he kept doing it. Game after game, season after season, Luka would find new ways to hit impossible shots against the Jazz. The step-back threes from the logo, the fadeaway jumpers over Gobert, the no-look passes that led to easy buckets for his teammates. The Jazz eventually traded away their entire core, and while there were many reasons for that, Luka's dominance over them was definitely a factor. When a 23-year-old can consistently make your defensive system look foolish, it's time to admit that maybe the system isn't working. Next up are the Minnesota Timberwolves, the Dagger King Luka. The Minnesota Timberwolves thought they had Luka figured out. They had length, they had athleticism, they had a young core that could match his energy. They were wrong. Luka has turned games against the Timberwolves into personal highlight reels. And the most traumatic part is that he seems to save his most ridiculous shots for them. The signature moment came in the 2024 Western Conference Finals. Game 5, series tied 2-2, everything on the line. The Wolves had built a 15-point lead in the fourth quarter and looked like they were going to force a Game 6 back in Minnesota. And then Luka happened. He scored 20 points in the final 8 minutes, including 3 consecutive step-back threes that each seemed more impossible than the last. The final one came with 1.2 seconds left, a 32-foot bomb over Jaden McDaniels that barely touched the rim. Timberwolves fans had just watched their season end on a shot that most players wouldn't even attempt in practice, and Luka made it look like a routine jumper. But the trauma didn't stop there. After hitting the shot, Luka turned to the crowd and did that little shoulder shrug that has become his signature celebration, like he was bored by his own greatness. The most recent example? Every time these teams play, Luka finds new ways to hit impossible shots. The step-back threes from the logo, the off-balance floaters through traffic, the no-look passes that lead to easy buckets. With the Atlanta Hawks, the 73-point nightmare. Speaking of recent trauma, let's talk about what Luka did to the Atlanta Hawks. January 2024. Hawks fans are having a decent season, they're competitive, they're feeling good about their team, and then Luka Dončić walks into State Farm Arena and drops 73 points on their heads. 73 points. Let that sink in for a moment. That's the 4th highest scoring performance in NBA history, and he did it while shooting 25 of 33 from the field and 8 of 13 from 3. But it wasn't just the numbers that traumatized Hawks fans, it was how effortless it looked. Luka wasn't forcing shots or playing hero ball, he was just playing basketball, and the Hawks couldn't do anything to stop him. The step-back threes from 30 feet, the drives to the basket where he was finishing through contact, the way he was finding open teammates even while scoring at a historic pace. And here's the most traumatic part. Luka could have scored 80. He sat out most of the fourth quarter because the game was already over. Hawks fans watched their team get so thoroughly dominated that the opposing team's best player didn't even need to play the final 8 minutes. The aftermath was brutal. Hawks fans couldn't even be mad at their team because what Luka did was so far beyond normal basketball that there was no reasonable way to defend it. Social media was flooded with Hawks fans just staring at their phones in disbelief. 73 points in their building while making it look easy. The Dallas Mavericks, the ultimate betrayal. But if you want to talk about the most devastating trauma Luka has unintentionally inflicted, we have to talk about what happened to his own fan base, the Dallas Mavericks. But this time, Luka wasn't the one doing the traumatizing. February 1st, 2025, a date that will live in infamy for Mavs fans everywhere. The most shocking trade in NBA history. Luka Dončić, the franchise cornerstone, the golden boy, the player they built everything around, traded to the Los Angeles Lakers. But here's the thing that made this different from every other trauma on this list. This wasn't Luka's fault. This was the Dallas Mavericks traumatizing their own fan base, and Luka was just as much a victim as anyone else. The trade came out of nowhere. Luka found out the same way we all did, through social media. No warning, no discussion, no chance to say goodbye. 1 minute, he was a Maverick for life. The next minute, he was packing his bags for Los Angeles. And the return, Anthony Davis, Max Christie, and a future first-round pick for Luka Dončić. The trade was so lopsided, so obviously terrible for Dallas, that even Lakers fans couldn't believe they got away with it. Mavs fans were devastated, but they weren't mad at Luka. They were furious at Nico Harrison, the GM who had just made the worst trade in franchise history. Fire Nico chants echoed through the American Airlines Center for the rest of the season. But the most heartbreaking moment came when Luka returned to Dallas for the first time as a Laker. During the pre-game introductions, when they showed his tribute video, Luka broke down crying on the court. This wasn't the cold, calculated superstar who had traumatized so many other fan bases. This was a 25-year-old kid who had just lost his basketball home. The crowd gave him a standing ovation. Mavs fans were crying too, because they knew this wasn't his choice. They knew he would have stayed in Dallas forever if the organization had just given him the chance. And then Luka went out and dropped 45 points, not out of spite or revenge, but because that's just who he is. He plays basketball at the highest level, no matter what uniform he's wearing. The real trauma for Mavs fans wasn't watching Luka succeed in Los Angeles. It was knowing that their own front office had given away a generational talent for nothing. It was watching Nico Harrison destroy everything they had built around their franchise player. Luka didn't traumatize Dallas. Dallas traumatized itself, and Luka was just collateral damage in the worst front office decision in NBA history. The future victims. But here's the scariest part for every other fan base in the league. Luka is just getting started. He's 26 years old and already traumatizing fan bases at a historic rate. What's he going to be like when he's actually in his prime? What's he going to be like when he's 28, 29, 30 years old and has even more experience? The Denver Nuggets thought they were safe until Luka dropped 45 on them in a playoff game while making it look easy. The Milwaukee Bucks learned the hard way that Giannis can't guard Luka one-on-one. The Miami Heat discovered that their zone defense is useless against someone who can shoot from anywhere on the court. Every fan base in the league is living on borrowed time. Luka is going to come for all of them eventually. And when he does, he's going to do it with that same casual confidence that has made him the most feared player in the league. But here's where it gets really interesting. And potentially catastrophic for multiple fan bases. Luka's contract with the Lakers expires in 2027. What happens if he decides not to re-sign? Think about the chaos that would unleash. Lakers fans, who just got comfortable having a generational talent, would watch him walk away just like Dallas fans did. But this time, it would be Luka's choice. And then imagine the domino effect. Whatever team lands Luka next would instantly traumatize their biggest rival. If he goes to the Celtics, he'd crush the hearts of every Lakers fan. If he chooses the Warriors, he'd break the spirits of Kings fans who thought they finally had a chance in California. The most terrifying scenario? Luka choosing a small market team that nobody sees coming. Imagine him signing with the Denver Nuggets to join his best friend Nikola Jokic or the Portland Trail Blazers and turning them into instant championship contenders. Every big market fan base that thought they had a shot would be left wondering how they missed out on the best player in the world. The Golden State Warriors, Knicks, the Philadelphia 76ers, the Miami Heat, they're all on the list. They just don't know it yet, because that's what Luka does. He finds your weakness, he exploits it, and he makes it look easy while he's doing it. And then he moves on to the next victim. So there you have it. Every NBA fan base that Luka Dončić has traumatized so far. From the Clippers' years of playoff heartbreak to the Suns' Game 7 humiliation, from the Jazz's defensive breakdowns that led to them trading away their top two superstars, to the Timberwolves' championship dreams getting crushed. From the Hawks' 73-point nightmare to his own Dallas fans getting their hearts broken by their own front office. Luka Dončić isn't just a basketball player, he's a dream crusher, a hope destroyer, a master of inflicting psychological damage on entire fan bases, and the scariest part, he's not even trying to be cruel. He's just playing basketball at a level that most people can't comprehend. But here's what makes it all so beautiful and terrifying at the same time. Luka does it with this childlike joy that makes you almost forget how much pain he's causing. He's out there having fun, playing the game he loves, and accidentally destroying the hopes and dreams of millions of fans in the process. That's not just talent, that's not just skill, that's pure basketball artistry, and we're all just witnesses to the masterpiece he's creating, one traumatized fan base at a time. What do you think? Which fan base has suffered the most at the hands of Luka Dončić? And more importantly, is your team next on his list? Let me know in the comments below, and make sure to subscribe for more deep dives into the players and moments that make basketball the most emotionally devastating sport in the world.